What's up, Buttercup? I'm Pam Barnes, marketing expert.
And I'm Hannah Cox, business strategist.
And this is the Go Getter Gals podcast,
where everyday gals grow together and you'll find resources to help you grow personally and professionally.
Hey gals, it's Hannah, and today I want to talk about strategies for scaling your business. So, as you're listening to this episode, you'll probably recognize that these strategies could also be used to achieve other goals in your life outside of your business. Like if you wanted to go back to school, if you want to buy a house, any big goals that you have for your life could be achieved by tweaking these strategies a little bit to apply more to personal goals. But for the sake of this episode, I am going to be speaking about business goals. So let's get started. The first step of 5 steps I've created for scaling your business is connecting with your ideal life. And this is one of the first things that I talk about when I bring on a new client. In our first conversation together, we're going to talk about what their ideal life is in detail. No detail is too small when you think about what your ideal life is. And for the purpose of this exercise, for you to do at home after this episode, if you carve out 30 minutes to just sit down and think about if you could snap your fingers and teleport yourself into your ideal life. And I don't mean 5 years in the future. I mean, you snap your fingers, and as you live and breathe right this second, things morph around you into your ideal life, whether that is where you're living, okay, so here's some of the questions I ask. What changes? Where do you live? How do you make money? How much money do you make? How much time do you spend working in your business? What is the type of work you do? And, again, like, how do you spend your free time? Where do you live? All of those things. A lot of answers are financial because I believe that people who are coming to me have financial goals usually, but I encourage to go beyond that. I don't want to just know that you're making $10,000 a month and you only work 20 hours a week and you only do this certain aspect of your business. I also want to know if you are living in a different state or if you have 2 homes and you have a vacation home that you travel to for 6 months a year. You need to be able to have a very clear picture if there's anything about your life now that you're not doing or that is not a reality that you feel like your ideal life and the version of you that lives in that life does or has, you should write it down. You should make a whole list of that. The next step, after you've clearly identified your ideal life, would be to reverse engineer that to where you are now. In doing that, you're going to create a timeline and set big milestones. So, for example, if you were to say, I want to make $10,000 a month in my business, how much are you making now? If you're only making $5,000 a month, then we know that the gap there is about $5,000. How much work are you doing now to make that $5,000? How can we double your income without necessarily doubling your work? Or if doubling your work is what you need to do, then you're going to have to hire people. You're going to have to come up with a plan. So the big thing is, where are you now in compared to your ideal life? And what is that gap and how do we solve that gap? So, if you were to kind of dipping into the personal goals, if you were to say, well, I want another house, I want to buy a second house, or I just want to build a dream house or something like that, then you would have to figure out how much it's going to cost, how much time it takes, create some buffers. And then as you're doing that, you're kind of expanding your timeline from where you are now to where you want to be. And so you're starting to paint that picture of the gap between you and your ideal life. This is a big step. This is something that would probably take a couple of weeks, of research and brainstorming and strategizing to kind of figure out how to close the gap between who you are now and who you want to be. But once you do that step, then the rest of it is like a snowball. The last 3 steps here just kind of like compound and create momentum. And so to go on to the next step 3 of this would be to focus on the high leverage tasks. What is a high leverage task, Hannah? I'm so glad you asked. A high leverage task is the thing in your business that is important for your goals, like for growth and scaling, but it's not urgent. If you don't do it, nothing bad will happen other than nothing happens. So you're not penalized for not doing these tasks right now, but you're also not rewarded for getting things done. You're not reaching your goals quicker. There is a diagram that you could look up online. If you were to Google the Eisenhower matrix, it's a very popular idea. What you would find is like a square, like a Punnett square. If you remember high school biology, when you were trying to figure out what color eyes you and your boyfriend would, your baby would have, and it's like a square that's separated into 4 quadrants, and then like you would put blue eyes and brown eyes or whatever, and it would tell you the percentage chance of having a different colored eyes for your baby. If you were to take that same square and divide it into 4 quadrants, but instead of eye color, you put important, not important, urgent, and not urgent on these sides, what would appear in these quadrants would be the tasks that are important and urgent. These are the things that are important for your business because they keep the doors open, they put money in your pocket, and they're urgent. There's a time frame for these. They have to get done. Below that, you have things that are not important but urgent. And this is sometimes a little tricky for people to comprehend, but things that are urgent but not important are things that do not contribute to the growth of your business, but there's a timeline. The biggest example I could give is taxes. Like doing your taxes doesn't help you in your business or business goals at all, but the IRS is waiting for them. Like you have to get this done. So those tasks, that payroll, stuff like that, those are things that just have to get done, but they're not important to the business. If you scoot over, you know, one side, then you're going to have things that are not important and also not urgent. A lot of times we call this like tasks like inbox zero, when people are like, I just need to get all my emails read, or maybe their desk is really messy and they need to like clean up their office. These don't contribute to the growth of your business and they're not urgent. Like if you don't clean up your office, if you don't shred those papers, I mean, yeah, there's going to be emails you need to read. But if you don't get to inbox zero, nothing bad happens. There's no consequence to that necessarily. And it also isn't helpful to your business goals. So a high leverage task lives in that top right quadrant of important but not urgent. And some examples of these could be hiring somebody or developing a new marketing plan or creating goals for your business. These are the big rocks of your business that actually like build the foundation for scaling. So these, I mean, maybe it's even something like, I have a client who really needs to create an inventory system for his business. Um, he has not had an inventory system for 4 years. Nothing bad has really happened other than a little bit of chaos, but he's been able to work around it. So this is a task that's important but not urgent, because if he continues to not have it, his business still runs. But if he has that inventory system, it provides an environment that's less chaotic. It saves him money in the long run because things aren't going missing. So that's a really good example of something that is important but not urgent, that grows and scales the business.
Hey gals, if you love what you're hearing and you want to get more involved, because trust me, I love Go Getter Gals. I'm obsessed with it. If you love this podcast as much as we do, all you have to do is go on our Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, and we're under Go-Getter Gals. We are going to have all of our episodes on the podcast link on our website at go-gettergals.com. Thank you for allowing me to interrupt for just a second. We look forward to continuing to help you grow. Without further ado, here's the Go Getter Gals podcast.
If you're focusing on high leverage tasks, then what you're really doing is pushing the needle forward in like 2 or 3 ways, like specific ways, incremental steps that you're pushing forward every single week that are related to that. And that can feel a little daunting when you are the owner of your business and everything relies on you and you have to do everything. You're like, when do I have time to develop an inventory system, to create a new marketing plan? When will I have time for that? And that's why it's important to focus on the next step, which is to delegate efficiently. And I say that because I know that it can be really difficult when you are running a small business and you have full control over every aspect of what your business looks like and says and does. And when you have full control, it's hard to relinquish it. But even if you can start by delegating tasks to a virtual assistant, tasks that are repetitive, that truly anyone can do, and all you have to do is create like an SOP or like a standard of procedure or standard operation procedure, then just delegating 20%, 30%, 50% of the stuff off of your plate will eventually snowball into the trust to delegate whole things off of your plate. And creating time by delegating operational tasks gives you a leg up in scaling because anyone can do your operational tasks. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow. Anyone can do your operational tasks, but only you can scale your company. So you have to make time to research different inventory styles, or to find and learn the inventory tool that you need, or to go out and find someone who knows what they're doing in marketing, like Pam. You have to make the time to do those things because only you can scale your business, but you have to be able to delegate efficiently all of your operational tasks or most of them so that you can focus on the high leverage tasks. So just to recap so far, you have created and connected to your ideal life, what that looks like for your business, what that looks like for you. You have reversed engineered that ideal life into the time you are now so that you've been able to visualize the gap between who you are now and where you're going. And you've created a timeline. You've created some big milestones of things that need to be accomplished in order to reach that goal. And now you're identifying what is high leverage, what is important but not urgent. And you are delegating the operational tasks so that you have time to focus on high leverage tasks. And the fifth thing that is imperative, the make or break it that I have seen for all of my clients, is that you have to build accountability into your routine. And this one's difficult because building accountability into your routine is not as easy as I'm going to tell my husband what I'm doing or I'm going to work with my business partner. And let me tell you why. With the husband, I know from personal experience, my husband and I are best friends, and he is my biggest enabler. He's a cheerleader, but he's an enabler. And I mean that if I were to say, husband, I really need to get this thing done, but I'm so tired. I'm so tired. immediately he's like, oh my gosh, Hannah, you deserve to take a break. You work so hard. You're a great mom. You look at all the things you accomplished so far. You just really need to take a break. Why don't you actually don't do that thing tonight and you just take a break and let's order sushi? Like, I love him so much and he loves me and he's going to enable me because he loves me so much. So, or, when you think about having a business partner, if you're somebody who actually has a business partner in your company, ideally, your business partner is complementary to you. Meaning, let's give an example, if one of you is a finance guy and the other is like a sales guru. This finance guy, he's focused on the money. And that's his specialty. And this sales guy, he's focused on marketing and sales and like getting people in the door to make money and manage money. Those people complement each other. When you go to your business partner and you are talking about all the things that you need to implement to reach your goals, they're going to be like, yeah, that's cool. Or they might push back a little bit and be like, oh, can we really do that? And they're focused on their own goals. So it's hard to have the accountability of your business partner being like, hey, did you get something done? Because they're not focused on you, they're focused on them. And you can't tell your husband, hey, I need to get this done, because yeah, sometimes he'll push you and cheerlead you, but a lot of times he's also focusing on his own thing, his own job, his own stuff. And, he just wants you to be happy and live a happy life, hopefully. So really what you need, and I know this feels like a shameless plug for Go Getter Gals, but you really just need people outside of your business who have similar goals or similar ambitions so that you can connect with, complain to, and talk about your goals with these like-minded people. And they're interested. They're interested because they have goals and they want you to be interested. So, when I meet with Go Getter Gals, we're talking about each other's goals. I am a business strategist and my clients get my accountability. So by nature, I'm also like, oh, you're going to get these things done. I'm going to text you about it later. I want to know when you succeed. I want to know if you're doing the things you want to do. And so hiring a business coach, an accountability partner, a strategist, hiring someone or finding a network of people is the best thing that you could do for your business and for scaling. So that's it. Those are 5 strategies that I feel like anyone could get started on doing today if they wanted to scale their business. I have seen this as a successful strategy for hundreds of entrepreneurs worldwide that I have worked with over the past 5 years. And I know that if there's anything in the world that you want to achieve, you can achieve it using these strategies. Thank you for listening to the Go Getter Gal podcast. All of the information for this episode can be found in the show notes. Make sure that you go and like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube. And to find the latest episodes of the Go Getter Gal podcast, you can visit our website at go-gettergals.com. See you next time.